and let us all do we can to build a better future.
Okay, folks. So, everyone, the water wars. What is it? What's going on? Well, I got a fantastic story. Yesterday, Vice President Kamala Harris was here in the city of Chicago. She was there, talking about the rollout of the vaccinations, but yet she has been repeating the same talking point time and time again about the water wars. The water wars. The water wars. So I guess is Kamala now a Morton Joe? What is the whole deal with water wars? If you guys and gals don't know what I'm talking about, check out this wonderful video that's being shared all over social media. And she's been repeating this a little bit too much, and it's downright disgusting. Let's play this first video. Faze.
And here's the other thing, because I also, I'm in a lot of meetings on foreign policy. For years and generations, wars have been fought over oil. In a short matter of time, they will be fought over water. So when we think about building up our economy around our infrastructure on something like water policy, it's literally about jobs. It's about the fundamental source of life that Tammy Duckworth was talking about. It will sustain life. And it's about strengthening up our nation around a commodity that is a precious commodity. And here's the other thing.
Okay, let's pause it real quick. I just saw. Let's keep the video up there for one quick second. But let's pause it though. I just want to explain to people what's going on. Again, this was here in the city of Chicago. I believe to her left is Mayor Lori Lightfoot. To her right is Governor J.B. Pritzker, and right behind her is Senator Dick Durbin. These are Illinois politicians, and what I find insulting about the whole idea of water wars, and she's talking about infrastructure. Well, the United States infrastructure is crumbling at this point. We need a lot of investment to protect our waters. But has anyone bothered to tell Kamala Harris about how we are polluting our own water? Let's start with the big one. Let's talk about fracking and how fracking is destroying a lot of our underground water reservoirs. Right. Now, let's talk about something that Heartland's Media has covered. We've mentioned this before. In 2018, myself and Daniel did a short 16-minute documentary about the heavy industrial pollution in the state of Indiana and how that state is one of the leading states, or is the main perpetrator of polluting Lake Michigan with regulated industrial waste. Dilution is a solution. So that means all those dangerous steel and toxin and other poisonous material is being put into the largest body of fresh water. Let's also deal with the fact that especially when that deep freeze was happening, how many Texans had to boil their water because their water wasn't safe, or how many residents, especially in southern states, don't have clean water filtration plants. Oh, wait, here's a big one. What about Flint, Michigan, and how it's been going for years without clean drinking water? Now, this isn't being done by some foreign power or some great evil terrorist organization. This is being done by state governments that have no rules or regulations towards heavy industry, and also the ineptitude of our federal government. We are polluting our own water sources. And, I mentioned just very small areas. I'm mentioning some huge environmental disasters as well, but major metropolitan cities are not safe because we have covered on Heartland's Media how the city of Chicago has lead in its water similar to Flint, Michigan, plus other dangerous toxic materials from Lake Michigan due to the pollution that's happening in Indiana. No one talks about that. So when we say prepare for the water wars, does that mean we're going to be invading sovereign countries now and taking away their fresh water resources, or building a pipeline to go underneath and take their water and take it back? Is anyone ever going to acknowledge the fact that, the CEO of Nestle once said that water is not a human right? So when you talk about water wars, Vice President Kamala Harris, why does it have to always go down to war? I mean, what's wrong with actually, I don't know, maybe having regulations on big industry, maybe trying to stop the military-industrial complex, but wait, thanks to Citizens United and McCutcheon's decision, a lot of these military-industrial complex industries, as well as these private contractors, have our politicians basically in a stranglehold. So that means we are stuck in these forever wars. So it's going to be a war for resources. But why does it always have to go to war? Water wars, water wars, water wars. Well, maybe I'm sick and tired of all these wars. Let's pull up this map real quick of heavily stressed areas. Now, again, this is an image from Wikipedia. Now, if you're a college professor, don't yell at me. I'm not trying to say that this is my research. I'm just using this as an example. but I'm pretty sure there are other diagrams that have better details. But these are countries that are severely straining their freshwater resources. And if we look at North America, can we zoom in on North America real quick, FaZe, if we can, if possible? Okay, I guess that's the best our systems can do. All right, but as you could tell, like red and dark red is where it's really heavy. And again, it's all over the West Coast, all over North America, where we are heavily straining our freshwater supplies.
Yeah,
Daniel.
and you have to remember a lot of the bread belt in America uses non-replenishable water from aquifers that are underground that are, I think, what's the sizing? It's like twice the size of Texas, kind of vertically. It's just these underwater. But we're using up all that water, too, and that water took millions of years to accumulate. So that's going to be an issue as well. Mm-hmm. It seems like the better way to deal with this, and we've talked about this before, is that most of this stuff is preventative, and then you just have it not happen in the first place. It's nice if we could just right now deal with the existential circumstances that are leading to us overwatering crops, overuse. Well, I think, you know what? This reminded me. Does anyone know? Okay, let me ask if you know this. You guys can't respond immediately. But do you know what the most used crop in America is in terms of water?
Hold on. I'm going to say, and I'm just using it off of Ken Burns' documentary, and that is hog feed.
No.
Corn?
No. That's second.
Wait, corn is second, or is it hog feed?
Well, hog feed's a derivative of a number.
Okay. Corn's second.
What uses the most water?
Oh, almonds?
Well, almonds use a lot of water.
Okay.
Grass.
Oh.
Grass uses, I think, 1/3 of all the water in the U.S. I think that's the number.
Really?
It's the most.
Wait. Did you say crop?
I said
grass
crop.
is a crop?
I mean, yeah. It's a weed, but yeah, you can technically cultivate stuff off it. Technically, whatever, it's a weed, but it is the most used source of water. If you just took out, if we didn't, and the only reason grass exists as the thing to use it is because suburbia came up and everyone wanted a green lawn. If we just converted back to natural plants and animals, we would help the bees, would help a lot of stuff, and we would just, that's a lot of water. That's right there. You've solved a huge issue. If you get the farms to have used newer technology to know exactly where to water crops, and there's new technology that you can specifically do that, that's a huge amount of water as well. My point is, the water war only happens if you let it. And talking about it happening as Kamala is simply makes it more inevitable, because if you're talking about it, you're not acting. And if you're not acting, it becomes more inevitable.
I also want to share with you all an article as well. This is again from San Francisco. Oakland, CBS. For the first time since her election, Vice President Kamala Harris was in her hometown of Oakland Monday, returning to the Bay Area to promote the Biden administration Americans Jobs Plan and the need to rebuild the country's water delivery infrastructure. Air Force Two arrived at Oakland International Airport from Los Angeles just before 10 a.m. She was greeted at the airport by Lieutenant Governor Elena Kowalski, Senator Alex Padilla, who filled the Senate seat Harris vacated with her election, and Congresswoman Barbara Lee. Her motorcade went straight to a water treatment plant in Oakland, where Harris joined Governor Gavin Newsom for a walking tour of the East Municipal Utility District Upper San Leandro Treatment Plant. She discussed how the new American Jobs Plan would provide an investment of more than $111 billion in the country's water infrastructure to ensure it's safe and equitable. Here's a quote from her. Again, talking about war. For years, there were wars fought over oil. In a short time, there will be wars fought over water. It doesn't have to be this way, Vice President Kamala Harris. What if we invest in the sciences, invest in space programs, invest in conserving our precious resource? It doesn't have to be this way. What if we stop the heavy industry from polluting our water, Vice President Kamala Harris? How about that? We must address inequities in access to clean water at local, state, federal levels, understanding opportunities to build back up infrastructure around water. Her words were addressing the major concern in a region that finds itself in the grips of another severe drought. Emerging from its typical rainy season, San Francisco and Oakland have received less than half its normal precipitation. So again, I want everyone to understand this. Climate change is a real threat, and this is because of unchecked accountability on heavy industry. Heavy industry that's polluting our atmosphere, polluting our environment. This is going to be a human issue. But yet, what are we seeing from Washington, D.C. and from our politicians? Water wars. Water wars, and talk about water wars. And the fact that Vice President Kamala Harris, not once but twice so far as we've caught it, has said it, be prepared to see other Democratic lawmakers and maybe even some of our progressive lawmakers make the same kind of statements too.
Yeah.
Is the United States, is that all we're good for is imprisoning people and just going to war? I mean, if that's it, I mean, it doesn't have to be this way. It really doesn't. But when I hear water wars, all of a sudden I'm thinking of Mad Max Fury Road.
Yeah, and it's crazy. It's like we're talking water wars. That's not even the right way to do it if it's going to work. Because in America, you have to declare war on something. So we have to have a war on water, and then we're going to have more water. Because it always seems to be how it happens anyway. So,
yeah. With that being said, I'm concerned about the future of any kind of progressive movement. And what the 2022 midterm election cycle and 2024 presidential election cycle is going to look like. Because if you have politicians spewing out this talking point about water wars, it's frightening to me because I could see people eating this up and saying, well, yeah, that's Kamala Harris, but she's not Trump. I do know this. If Donald Trump or Mike Pence said anything like this, people would have been foaming from the mouth saying, we got to stop this madness. It's a dictatorship. Trump will go to war for water. When Kamala Harris says it, silent obedience from our wonderful allies who are liberals.
and before we end this, you actually have a story about this exact Kamala visit that you were telling me before the show started.
Oh, yeah. Well, real quick, just before I was getting to the studio, I actually saw her motorcade pass by me. She was here in Chicago, and I was driving to the studio, and apparently ambulance trucks, police trucks, fire trucks, tow truck. There was even some few tow trucks there too, and I think 4 or 5 black SUVs, and with American flags, and I believe also the vice president flag too. So
Yeah.
her motorcade was passing by.
So there you go. Kit got pretty close to Kamala.
There you go. Whatever. That doesn't matter at all.